Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Good evening to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back from the weekend. Thank you so much for being with us on this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television in the English language. Our major stories tonight: political actors, civil society activists, and legal minds have been multiplying calls for the release of 23-year-old Junior Ngombe, who was arrested and locked up at the State Defense Secretariat in Yaoundé. Said Junior, who was a barber at Bilonga-Yarindwala, was arrested after using his TikTok account to sensitize young people in Cameroon to register, vote massively, and protect their vote during and after the presidential election in the country. He has also been decrying the sufferings of the common man in Cameroon. Details on calls for his release in this edition of the news. And also, this question: should parents be more vigilant during this holiday period? The answer is obviously yes, because of the increase in the number of domestic accidents this month in Cameroon. Today in Kumba, in the southwest region of the country, 2 children were burnt to death in a fire incident. We will be telling you exactly what happened in this edition of the news. Those are our top stories. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. We begin this edition of the news on a rather sad note in Kumba. 2 children aged 6 and 8 have died after their house was engulfed by wild flames in Bonge subdivision in the Kumba 1 in the Meme division of the southwest region. The incident that occurred on Sunday left 1 person injured. Also, Immaculate Fogwe now takes us to the Bonge Road, a locality in the city of Kumba, to tell us what actually happened.
A journey of no return for Memory and Wemnui, aged 8 and 7 years old respectively. Both of them died while asleep after being trapped in their home by wild flames. The incident occurred in Bonge Road in Kumba 1 subdivision, Meme division, southwest region of Cameroon. We were all asleep when my child came and woke me up, informing me that fires engulfed the entire building. He struggled to break the door, and so we managed to escape. The other 2 were still asleep. I tried rescuing them to no avail.
My name is Delphine Bume. I'm working at Backpack. So when I done at that 8:11, I was with my madam. I just said, let me come and rush and bathe so that I can get a rest. When I came back home, my bathe, I was just sitting on top of the bed, pressing my phone. Around something to 9, I just slept off. 11 to 12, my neighbor was screaming, fire, fire. Immediately, I stood up and I looked up. Everywhere was dark with smoke. My friend had come and collect me and went with me in their house.
On the site, one could still notice smoke emanating from the burnt items. Despite the heavy rain, the presence of the firefighting brigade, and the combined efforts of the population, not even a single item was saved.
They went and called the rescue. The rescue came. There was no way that they could pass. They transferred a pipe, but that before they could even manage to lose a fire, it was.
Being a ghost town day, it was extremely difficult accessing a motorcycle or a vehicle to transport the corpses, forcing the family to cover several kilometers on foot in order to enable them bury the corpses in Bikondo. A hard pill to swallow, as the population are yet to recover from the shocking incident.
Sad indeed. Now we told you in the headlines that demands for the release of 23-year-old Junior Ngombe have gained momentum, intensifying across the national territory. Currently detained at the State Defense Secretariat, said in Yaoundé, Ngombe was forcefully taken away from his residence in Douala. That was on Thursday, July 25, by said agents without any warrant. Civil society actors, legal minds, and political party leaders say his arrest described his arrest as illegal and an abuse of power by government officials in Cameroon. On social media, a hashtag Release Junior is also gaining ground. For me, Armstrong Sander comes back to his arrest and the reactions or calls for his release.
The increasing and intensified demands for the release of Junior Ngombe, 23, cuts across the social board. From civil society actors, legal minds to politicians, reactions have been the same. That the detention of Junior Ngombe, arrested in Douala on July 25, 2024 and taken to Yaoundé, is illegal. The arrest, which occurred under questionable circumstances, is believed to be linked to Ngombe's vocal criticisms of the regime and his call for extensive voter registration ahead of the 2025 presidential elections in Cameroon. The case has drawn significant attention from prominent figures in the country. Barrister Michelle Ndoki and her Nation Builders movement have been holding discussions about the endemic problem of freedom of expression in Cameroon. Similarly, Professor Maurice Kamto, president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement CRM political party, condemns the arrest as an abuse of power. He highlighted Ngombe's dedication to democratic change through voter registration, emphasizing the importance of including young people in the electoral process in the country. The CRM party's national leader didn't envy. He proceeded to urge President Paul Biya to release Ngombe immediately, calling him a symbol of responsible and hopeful youth. He also demanded that those responsible for using state power to intimidate citizens be held accountable. Human rights lawyer Barrister Kiremuna, Junior Ngombe rightfully expressed his worries and frustrations as allowed by the Constitution. Akiremuna on his social media handle praised Junior Ngombe for advocating through peaceful means rather than risking dangerous journeys like those across the Sahara or the Mediterranean. The coordinator of the Nous movement criticized the preferential treatment given to corrupt individuals involved in scandals, contrasting it with the harsh treatment of a young activist expressing legitimate concerns. Another strong-worded call for the release of Junior Ngombe came from civil society leader Maximilian Ngombe. She qualified the arrest as an intimidation. The hashtag Free Junior Ngombe has also gained traction on social media as public response intensifies.
We will be talking more on that in the second part of the news. Now we continue talking about social ills in Cameroon. The 53-kilometer stretch of road linking Konjok in the Nkam division of the littoral region to Bafang in the West region still remains a huge problem to road users during this rainy season. Farmers are unable to transport their farm products from their farms to the market because of the poor road network. They put the blames on the company recruited by the Ministry of Public Works to rehabilitate that stretch of road. Smart Jikan Gabriel now presents to us the state of roads from Bafang to Konjok.
Stuck in mud, a vehicle transporting plantains is unable to continue its journey to the market to deliver the raw food. We are in Sohok, a village situated in Konjo, Kam division of the littoral region. The poor state of the road is making things difficult for the road users, particularly farmers who live on the proceeds they get from the sale of their farm produce. The nature of the road has been blamed on the enterprise giving the rehabilitation contract.
Since the company don't start this work.
Since the company was given this contract, they decided to come late in the heart of the rainy season to commence work, making it impossible for cars to either move up or down.
Don't come, and the thing way problem don't be now. And motor not go down, motorcycle see how people them default.
Apart from vehicles that have difficulties in moving, commercial motorcycles, believed to be the easiest means of movement, also have the same problem as they also get stuck in the mud. A bike rider laments.
The road is not a give man chance. A trunk would suffer the yabat.
The road is not giving us any chance of movement. It's difficult and we are really getting it hot. We only plead for the road to be done. Our engines get bad because of the bad road.
We see man where they come down. The crush for machine it don't burn where they go down for heat.
With movement practically impossible, road users are now making these suggestions.
If the company become that so all the blue camp,
If the enterprise could only come and open waterways for water to circulate freely, there will be no problem.
We people, we them there for Isa Arosoma from Konjok, for Norma Kombe, them there.
Works on the Nkonjok-Bafan stretch of road, covering a distance of 53 kilometers, was launched since 2023, and it's been financed by the Ministry of Public Works to the tune of 4.998 billion francs CFA.
Now we take you to the Northwest region to tell you about the plight of the people of Bessa. In the Northwest region, they have been plunged into turmoil and despair for some time now. A peaceful protest by women on July 21 has spiraled into a nightmare, leaving the community grappling with loss and uncertainty. Boo Stella tells us more about the plight of those people from Bamenda.
The women of Bessa took to the street with hearts full of hope and courage. They protested against the separatists, yearning for an end to violence, but what should have been a powerful act of non-violent resistance quickly turned deadly. The separatists allegedly responded with gunfire, and tragically one woman lost her life. The bloodshed on the day, July 21st, was just the beginning. In the days that followed, Bessa endured relentless attacks. The market, a crucial trade hub for traders from Dongamantung, Bui, Ngokitunja and other parts of Boyo Division, now lies in ruins. Among the victims of these heinous acts was a man called Frank, a well-known figure in the community. His life was violently taken, leaving a void that can never be filled. 2 villagers are still missing. They are reportedly held captive by the separatists. Their families are in anguish, clinging to the hope that they will return safely. The community now struggles to survive amidst the ashes of their homes and the shadows of their loss. As the days stretch into an uncertain future, they hold on to hope that their cries for peace will be heard.
In foreign news, at least 9 people have been killed during stampedes that took place or happened at the Matara Stadium in Kinshasa during a concert of gospel singer Mike Kalambahi. And over to Gabon, will the president of the Gabonese transition be a candidate in the presidential election scheduled for August 2025 in his country? There is response in this report by Sadiq Chakutio.
At least 7 people were killed and many others were injured during a stampede at a music concert in the Democratic Republic of Congo's capital last Saturday. The stampede occurred at the 80,000 capacity Stadium Martins in the part of Kinshasa where Mike Kalambahi, a popular Congolese gospel singer, was performing. Authorities did not comment on what caused the stampede, saying an investigation into the incident was underway. However, the local music management company that organized the event said the chaos erupted when the security services tried to neutralize some troublemakers. An estimated 30,000 people attended the concert, which featured several other musicians and pastors. Videos that appeared to be from the scene and broadcast of the event showed large crowds gathered outside the stadium in front of barricades as they waited to enter inside. The Democratic Republic of Congo has witnessed such stampedes in past years, often blamed on poor crowd control measures such as excessive use of force. 11 people died in a similar crash at the same stadium last October during a music concert. Elsewhere, at least 12 people, including children, died in an airstrike on a football ground in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights on Saturday. The rocket hit the pitch, which at the time was filled with children and teenagers in the Druze village. The village is situated in territory Israel captured from Syria in the 1967 Middle East War and annexed in a move not recognized by most countries. The strike is the deadliest on an Israeli target since the war in Gaza started and has raised new fears. Israelis said, according to intelligence it had, the rocket launch was carried out by the Hezbollah terrorist organization and has vowed revenge. And in Gabon, 11 months after he came to power in a coup, there are growing calls for Gabon's transitional president Brice Oligui Nguema to run for office. He was sworn in September last year, less than a month after ousting President Ali Bongo, whose family had ruled the country for more than 5 decades. The transition charter governing Gabon authorities Oligui Nguema to stand as a candidate but not the other leaders.
And now we talk sports. Cameroon's table tennis woman Sarah Hamfunana has declared her intentions to retire from the game after her elimination from the Olympic Games that was on Sunday. This is coming when Egypt and Tunisia became the latest African nations to pick up medals at the Olympic Games, though none yet has a gold medal. Smaljikan Gabriel gives us an update on the performance of some African nations at the Olympic Games in Paris, France.
Sarah Hamfunana has announced her resignation from table tennis after her defeat at the round of 32 in the table tennis discipline at the Olympic Games. On her third participation, the lawyer by profession was one of Cameroon's medal hopefuls at the Summer Games. Quitting the stage means Cameroon won't have any Olympic medal from her. The exit of Sarah Hamfunana sends every attention to the remaining 5 athletes left in the Paris Olympic competition. Though Cameroon is yet to have an important result, some African nations have been impressive. In basketball, newcomers at the Games, South Sudan stunned Puerto Rico, beating them by 90 to 79 points, while the D Tigres, basketball women team of Nigeria, recorded a historic win, beating the Opals of Australia 75 to 62 to cause the biggest upset at the Games this far. It was Nigeria's first Olympic Games win in 20 years. The win of the D Tigres of Nigeria came on the eve of the 0-1 defeat conceded by the Super Falcons in their second match at the women's football competition against Spain. The Super Falcons must now win Japan on March Day 3 to be sure of a quarterfinals ticket. Meanwhile, the Copper Queens of Zambia were booted out of the Games after letting go a 4-goal lead to succumb to a 5-6 defeat in the hands of Australia. Team captain Barbara Banda made history of becoming the first African to score 2 hat-tricks in an Olympic Games. This far, no African nation have harvested a gold medal, but Egypt and South Africa have at least 1 medal each to their names.
Thanks, Matt. That report brings us to the end of the first part of the news. Talking Points comes up next. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, viewers. Tonight we are talking about on the arrest of the TikToker or the social media activist Junior Gombe. He was arrested here in Douala, precisely at his residence in Bilonge in the Douala 3 subdivision, and taken over to Yaoundé, where he has been detained at SAID. And now our guest tonight is Barrister Alice Nkom. She is a legal mind and a human rights defender. Barrister, thank you so much for accepting to be our guest on the news tonight. Now, can you first of all now give us what you think or tell us your opinion on the arrest of the 23-year-old social activist here in Douala?
Thank you, Anne, for inviting me here. You see, what I think is something very bad in my double quality of citizen, because as a citizen, I have a lot of rights that must be protected by the leaders of this country, which is not the case today. And as a mother, I cannot sleep if this guy is not free as quickly as possible. And as a civil society member, let me tell you that I think exactly the same thing this guy expressed in his video. So I should be, because of equity and justice, I am ready to be arrested too, and to join him there. They must show it to the whole world how human rights are has to be a massacre in our country. This must stop. I like people who say la jeunesse, fer de lance de la nation. This must be true. This must become true once, only once. I am calling all the gendarmes, all the police to come and arrest me, because my feeling is exactly the same like this young man. They should liberate him now, immediately.
And now, Barrister Alice Nkom, some other opinions think that the arrest of Junior Gombe is a means or a way of silencing Cameroonians, like threatening them not to speak up in the wake of their sufferings. Are you of that same opinion or view?
This guy expressed what many Cameroonians today think about freedom, about democracy, about all these awful things we see every day as bad roads, cannot allow you to study, as this the results of baccalaureate this year. And all our leaders should be ashamed to live in this country. That must be ashamed to see how this country is directed, governed. It is a shame, and they better come back to them, be, how can I tell you, we be honest enough for once to say we failed. We have to redirect our action for our people, for our kids, for our country. This is more than enough. And when I say enough, it's really enough. And I'm waiting for them. I'm ready to go to jail. But I think exactly the same thing.
Thank you, Barrister. Now, among the social ills with the young guy, Junior was criticizing, he called on Cameroonians in one of his TikTok outings to vote massively and also protect their votes. He was giving them strategies to combat or avoid fraud during next year's election. And those are some of the reasons he was arrested. Why? Is it that the regime in Yaoundé is panicking? And if they are panicking, why panic?
The truth, because time for truth is no longer far from us. We will see it by this time. When you don't like yourself because they treat you like nothing, you don't fear to die because your life did not please you. So as far as they push people to treat them like animals, like slaves of one man, one regime, they must expect something themselves. They must expect that this must finish. Everything has an end. And if this ends after 43 years, it's just normal. People can no longer afford to be treated like that. No human rights, no freedom of nothing, no comfort in our country, no future, nothing. So what will we do if, like all the slaves, one day, and maybe not far from us today, they say enough is enough? We are not far from that. They better have to listen to people like this guy, people like what I'm trying to say courageously to them, because the other people cannot. They are afraid because we have reached such a level of autocracy and how do you call this? Yes, and suffer. You know, everybody is just fleeing, trying to go somewhere else. Yes, it's too much. It's time to stop this, to say, okay, we recognize that we were so far from what was expected to us. So please step down and try to see what we can do to be pardoned. This is what we are waiting for them. But even though we will no longer accept to be treated like they do for 43 years today, we are not just here to pay taxes, to pay, and having nothing in return. We cannot afford. It's too much.
Barrister Alice Nkom, do you think the arrest of Junior can be successful somehow to the Yaoundé regime? Can they succeed in deterring other Cameroonians who were thinking of speaking up?
Okay, this is a way to frighten people, but it will not work, because what do you have to protect when you lose your freedom for nothing, when you live in very unjust environment, when you cannot go and pay your rent by working, because nobody will come to Cameroon today to establish an entrepreneur. They cannot come. They see what is going on in Cameroon. This has become a foolish country where you don't know where they're going, where they are putting young people in prison and taking a very, very good care of people like us, because I'm not far for 80, but we should take care of our kids, the future generation. What do we live? Soon we are going. What do we leave in our country to continue the work if you don't allow people to even to speak? You don't give anything. You are not able to give instruction, education. Look at the result of baccalaureate. It is very bad situation. We are living bad days in Cameroon. So I ask people for Yaoundé to remember that. Minister, SDOs, you are there because we elected the person who appoint you. This is our money that pay you. Please respect the hierarchy. We are the boss of your boss.
Exactly, Barrister. Now, you are a human rights defender, you're a lawyer, and you're also a civil society actor. If you have all of those involved in the arrest of Junior Gombe in front of you, especially as a lawyer, what will you tell them?
A lawyer, I shall remind them their duty as Cameroonian. Everybody must defend human rights. Otherwise, we will be in hell. We will be in a country where that remind us the Hitlerian period, which is something which is a nightmare for people. If you don't have your human rights, if you cannot breathe without they give you the power to do that in Yaoundé, they don't give you water. That means that they can refuse to give you life, because water is life.
So much, Barrister Alice Income, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Points tonight, and hopefully Junior Gombe will be released. Thank you, viewers, for always being with us. Thank you for the confidence. Always don't go away. Our programs continue. Equinoxe live from Yaoundé with Gizo Go, that would be at 7 p.m. and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.